Hello, I'm Rupert Turton, and welcome to the Business Spotlight interviews, where we talk to local business owners about their journey. This week, something a little bit different. I've got Rob Persani from Rutland and Stamford Sound. Rob is the station manager and also, of course, the breakfast show host. Anyone who lives around the Rutland and Stamford Sound area will know Rob as somewhat of a local celebrity. So, Rob, welcome along, and thank you for agreeing to do this.
You're very welcome, Rupert. It's a lovely opportunity to be able to talk about what we do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think the first question, actually, for those people outside of your area, do you want to just talk a little bit about Rutland and Stamford Sound and also its history?
Yeah, absolutely. I moved to Rutland back in 1998 because a radio station called Rutland Radio began. 21 years later, that then was taken over, rebranded. It's now something completely different. And it doesn't have quite as much local content as we used to provide. So we found that there was an opportunity. Well, Rutland County Council did, to be honest. And they put a project together called the Rutland Community Radio Project. I was appointed project manager. And just over 2 years ago, I began on this journey to see if it was viable to have a radio station back in this area. So after a couple of months, we appointed directors. And at that time, they were the advisory board, just really to challenge and check everything that I was going through. And we got a great number of people. We had over 30 people apply. We then selected 6. We've now got 4 directors, 3 of those actually from day one. So they operate our community interest company. I'm an employee of that community interest company. As you say, I'm the station manager of it. And we've been building the radio station ever since. It's broadly a volunteer radio station with, as you said earlier, me on the breakfast show. We have volunteer presenters who do the rest of the day, people who do some of the background tasks, support news, and support us when we go out and about in the patch. And we're just a genuine local radio station for the area, basically.
Excellent. So I've got so many questions and I don't know where to start. So I suppose my first question is, being in radio, is that what you always wanted to do? Was that your boyhood dream?
It was one of them, yeah. It was to do with broadcasting, and I think it's my late daddy put his head in a TV that wasn't no longer working when I was about 2, and he literally put his head over and started talking to me. And I was always fascinated by everything from the test card to when it broke down to the way it worked. And when I was actually in school, I thought maybe I'll work behind the scenes in TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was always interested in music and talking to people. And I didn't actually grow up listening to a lot of radio. It was only really as a teenager I kind of got into it. And I discovered local radio and started doing it in between my A-levels. When I was 17, I was doing 2 shows a day on a local temporary radio station based at a church. And and it all kind of spiraled from there. I went and did a media course, which also had a radio station attached. I also worked on a voluntary radio station, which was part of the local patch down in Hampshire. And it was very much like the area that we broadcast to now. Quite a rural area, very proud of what it is and what it does and wants to talk about it. And it was very open access in terms of people used to actually open the studio door when you were on the radio. And they would collect prizes. There'd be a lot of rustling in this big cardboard box trying to find what they'd won that week and that kind of stuff. So I did that at college. I then went and did some travel news for a while, based in Birmingham, but broadcasting right across the Midlands with information on different stations, BBC local stations, commercial stations. Community stations weren't a thing then, although community was very much a small local thing. And the Rutland Radio advert came out in 1998, and I thought I'd genuinely been here before. People say, "Oh, so where did you go to school?" And they're quite surprised that I actually grew up in Staffordshire because I've kind of become part of the area. And I guess for me, it was an area that I instantly felt at home with, and it was very similar to where I grew up, sort of Market Town area in Staffordshire. I was actually in the village just outside that, and the radio station in Hampshire was very similar. So it all felt very at home. But we just became very much part of local life, and we're doing it all over again, really.
Yeah. So who are your typical audience then? Who are you broadcasting to in the Rutland and Stamford area?
It's a very broad audience. We try and be as broad as we can. We see ourselves as a community station for the whole community. And that can change depending on who we've got involved. There are
Hmm.
specialist music programs, but broadly, I would say it would be adults and possibly more older adults. But really, we're trying to be as broad as we can. So our music stretches from the 60s through to, I suppose, the more accessible pop music, but we try and create a mix that kind of reaches a broad cross section of people who are interested in the locality. That's the primary thing. You want to listen to us if you're interested in local.
And also, you do have a lot of local voice content as well. It's not
Mm.
just about the music. I mean, if you've only got to listen to you on a morning, and you regularly interviewing local people about local events as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was, getting back to what you said at the start, kind of all I wanted to do. I wanted to give people a platform to be able to do that. And we're very lucky to be in an area where people want to talk about where they live.
Yeah. So the other side of this, of course, is you almost have two marketplaces, don't you? On the one side, you have your listenership. On the other side, you have your advertisers. So what do the advertisers want from a community radio station?
Two different things, really. They want to support us. They
Hmm.
want us to be part of their sort of business network, I suppose, and also
Yeah.
part of local life. So some people instantly wanted to be with us because they wanted to associate themselves with something very local.
Yeah.
And then obviously they want to reach their customers. My, I suppose, ambition for it is that it can be accessible to a wide variety of businesses. So we have sole traders on.
Hmm.
We have bigger local businesses that you would see sponsoring lots of different things, everything from estate agents to furniture places to all sorts of different ones. But I suppose it's just about. I would love to be able to drive down the high streets in our towns and actually
Yeah.
say, "Yep, they've been on. They're on," and for our listeners to do the same. So
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to do.
Okay.
Make it all local.
Yeah. So, what's your aspirations then for Rutland and Stamford Sound in the next 5 years? What are you looking for the station to become? Where you're looking to go?
We want it to be sustainable to start with.
Mm.
It is a very small business. As I said, at the start of this, I'm only the only employee. It would be
Yeah.
nice to be able to grow that, to have someone, as a sort of right hand person to be able to pass some things on to. So, it's easy for me to kind of leave it aside when I'm off.
Yeah.
On holiday and things like that, to get more volunteers involved to grow the advertising. We still think there's a lot of potential there. And the big thing for us is actually to be on a traditional radio because we still think there's a big desire for that to happen. We're
Hmm.
on smart speakers. Over 50% of our audience actually listen to us on Amazon Alexa, for instance. And that works really well for us. But the big thing, although it's starting to become in cars, is it's not that portable to just
Yeah.
press a button in the car for people to listen to us. Now, it's quite a difficult thing to do because the regulation has changed. The
Hmm.
government, the DCMS and Ofcom want it to be a digital future as much as possible. They're rolling out digital technology in our area. That
Yeah.
is coming quite slowly. We're hopeful that it will in the next year or so. We're also looking at traditional broadcast methods as well, but that's the big part of what I do away from this with the support of the board that we have.
Mm. So, flicking subject slightly, so we've talked about the radio station, but you've actually
Mm.
moved to a new seat. So historically, you've been the employee of a radio station. All of a sudden, you are running your own radio station. So, what's been your biggest learning since starting Rutland and Stamford Sound?
Oh, crikey. My old boss, the chief executive of the radio station, we were part of a small group before, used to say to me, do the thing you're least looking forward to first. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
still try and it's very easy to tick off the nice things. And
Yeah.
because I do, I suppose, the morning show, and that's my kind of comfortable seat, there's a lot that I need to do with that, with content and stuff. And then there's the running of the radio station. I have to say, without the directors that we have, I would be completely lost in the day-to-day running, because they are brilliant at everything from the regulation to the financial management to the strategy of the radio station and the sort of distribution and operation. So I think the biggest challenge for me has just been a time thing. It is very busy. You want to keep the standard of the radio station up because that's our product.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's all these other things that are happening behind the scenes that you need to give your attention to on a daily basis. So it's quite a challenge. It's a lot of spinning plates. There's one or two that do kind of fall, and I'm kind of trying to kind of get them going again. And yeah, it's very busy.
So, a bit more of a personal question, if you don't mind. So, when we talk about success, who is the first person you think of?
In terms of what, telling someone, or
if you if you had to look at your idol for success, the person that you're aspiring to be or would like to be, who would that person be?
In terms of success for me, so that actually I'm looking and thinking, where would I like to be?
I'm leaving the question deliberately open, Rob, to see where you're going. So different people aren't. Some people it's about the money. Some people it's about giving back. Some people it's more about their family and their friends. It varies depending on who you're talking to.
For me, I think it's about the sustainability, the viability, and to have a little bit more breathing space in things. So the measure of success would be that everything is running at the same rate as it's running now.
Yep.
And there are people looking after various corners of it. And I'm more, I suppose, a captain of the ship, as well as actually, they're in the engine room.
Yeah.
So I think it's just that sort of shift, really. So that would be the measure of success of what we're doing, definitely.
Okay, cool. Any particular person that springs to mind?
In terms of, I don't know, because what we're doing is it's hard to kind of think of someone else who's doing something similar. There's a few different radio stations that have started in the same way that we have because of consolidation mainly, and they're all doing it differently. So I think it's really getting to the stage where I could possibly pass this on to someone else in the future.
Okay. And if you started the station again, what would you do differently, bearing in mind what you've learned in the last 2 years?
Yeah, it's as soon as you switch it on, it is like having a child that needs attention, and I think it's a real double-edged sword, because we stopped the previous radio station stopped at the end of the August. We launched the following March, and in that time the listeners maybe have something else to find to listen to, because you're basically part of people's life, part of their habit. You're trying to create that kind of regularity. So part of me would want it to have launched on the 1st of September, which I had 2 weeks off before I even started the new job. I needed to kind of clear my head a little bit, and from the bereavement of what we'd done before. But also you can never quite have enough time to plan everything. And I think we got to the stage where we thought we'd better do it, and we were just about ready. I think it would have been nice to be a bit more ready. Because once you're doing it, there's no stopping it.
Yeah, okay. That's fair enough. So, Rob, just before we finish, bearing in mind this is going out predominantly to a business community, are there any messages you'd like to give out about Rutland and Stamford Sound to the wider business community who might be listening into this?
I suppose really it's about support. The same that we say to our listeners, tell people about us. We are organically growing. We are marketing ourselves, but to be able to actually share that and give us a listen on Alexa, on Google, on your computer. If you're actually watching us on your laptop at the moment, just go to rutlandandstamfordsound.co.uk and you can find us. We would love, if you're local, to work with us, to support us, everything from advertising to, because we're a community interest company, we accept grants, donations. and it's all helps the area. All the money that goes into the radio station is spent for the benefit of the radio station. So we're very lucky, and I think it's great to be able to just grow that a little bit.
Cool. Excellent. So, Rob Persani, thank you for your time today. It's been lovely talking to you. Always very interesting. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a closet anorak as well. So, love talking about radio. But thanks for your time today. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Me too. Thank you very much for your time, Rupert. Really appreciate it.